Well, hello and welcome, everybody. This is your host, Ken D. Foster. Today, we're going to be talking about healing it all. How would you heal it all? That's an interesting question, isn't it? Well, what if we were able to align coherently with nature, align with your mind, your body, your soul, your spirit, align everything together and be able to increase your energy, vibration, frequency, therefore your productivity, your intentions, your will. Wow, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Well, listen, we're going to be talking about that today and how you can do it, how you can apply some of these principles. And this is going to be a show, I believe, that will help you really get in tune with your natural rhythms. There's natural rhythms of life. And when we can start to feel coherence in our environments, in our bodies, in our minds, we start to be able to connect to what we might call super consciousness or super coherence. We might be able to get more curious as to this field that the quantum scientists are telling us that we live in, right? We live in a field. It's a holotropic energy field that we're part of. I'm part of it. You're part of it. We're all connected here. There's a reason you came in to listen to this show today, to maybe increase your coherence in a way that helps you to generate more joy, more love, more success in your world. And what does it take for this? Well, might take a quantum breakthrough for some of you, right? Let go of some limiting beliefs, but it also might just take more awareness of what's working maybe for you, what's not working, more awareness of the potential that's within you to be able to expand that potential, to be able to tap into areas of your consciousness that you haven't tapped into. You know, some of you are clairaudient, some of you are clairvoyant, some of you are empaths, some of you are all of it, right? We all have the potential to be all of that, right? But how come we're not there yet? Okay. Some of you, right? Some of you are, but some of you aren't. So how do we shift that so you have more richness in your life, more expansiveness of what's going on for you? And I'm not talking expansiveness of more busyness and more stress and more chaos. No, I'm talking about the expansiveness that comes with a knowing, with wisdom, with understanding. That expansiveness that broadens our peace, our joy, our happiness. That peace. That's the part that when we get to tune into that and become coherent with it, it's what we might call miraculous, right? And so, miracles are happening all around us all the time. And what we call miracles, things that are seem to be outside of phenomena that happen in phenomena unexpectedly. But when you can tune in to what we're talking about here, it's almost like you live in a bubble and you can walk through life. You feel safe, you feel connected, and life gets better and better almost every day in every way. And the biggest problems that you have, you face with courage and not stress and not overwhelm and not underwhelm. You just face and things manifest in a great way. That's what the show is about today. Doesn't that sound fascinating? Well, I have an author with me today, and she studied the principles that I just shared with you in a very deep sense. And we're going to take a deep dive into this today. So stay tuned. I'm going to take a quick break. And when I come back, I'll have my guest.
Whether because of discomfort, lack of mobility, your lifestyle, or occupation, you sit inactively way too many hours a day. Introducing Ellipse, the premium quality automatic seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation without physical strain or impact.
It is so quiet that none of my coworkers even know I'm using it.
Strengthen and tone your legs, increase your mobility, flexibility, and balance. Plus, stimulate healthy circulation.
My joints feel better, my knees feel better, my back feels better. It makes me feel stronger too.
Perfect for home therapy. Whisper quiet to use while you work.
My circulation is moving, I'm burning calories, and it makes me feel energetic.
Call now and order Ellipse, the seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation. Call and get upgraded to the Deluxe Bundle. Get the faster motor or 5 miles of steps per hour, the step counter, the sport mat, and wireless remote. Call now.
Well, welcome back, everybody. This is your host, Ken D. Foster, and today we're talking about wellness through awareness is really what we're talking about. Dr. Cheryl Malakoff has joined me. Cheryl, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ken. It's such an honor to be here. And I just wanted to thank you for presenting Heal It to Humanity, for the inspiration and the support on our journey. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, I'm blessed to have you here on our show today. I'm not only blessed, my audience is blessed. So they're gonna experience some, I believe, healing today that is possible by what the information, the energy, the frequency that we're putting out here today. So those of you that don't know Cheryl Malakoff, she's Ph.D. She's a director of Wellness Through Awareness since 1988 and is a psychologist and a teacher specializing in the science of transformation, and is dedicated to aligning the soul, mind, and being levels of her clients using pioneering healing systems. Her relentless pursuit of the most effective models to restore health have accumulated in pioneering a research project, the effects of transgenerational traumas in the psychology of health conditions. She's also the co-founder of KnowYouProfiles.com, a site dedicated to helping people realize their true purpose, real strengths, and untapped potential through unique tools of self-discovery. Wow, Cheryl, you got a lot of going on here, girl. How did you jump into this mind, body, soul medicine and transformational healing techniques to really help people to take their lives and heal them?
Well, Ken, many, many decades ago, I noticed the futility of ordinary life, that life was like a roller coaster. It was up and down. There was no predictability. And most of all, that our dreams were thwarted and people were accepting the unacceptable, including myself. And so, as with most of us, we are inspired to seek solutions when it is no longer a graceful and productive way of living anymore. We want radiant health, intimate relationships. We want financial flourishing. We want an incredible connection with spirit. And so when the futility of ordinary life no longer worked in terms of striving, achievement, accomplishment, it inspired me to go from an ego-driven life to dive into soul-inspired living. And that started the whole pathway. When I became a psychologist, it was really the most incongruent day of my life because I was a good therapist. I would be able to mow the daisies down from the lawn, but without getting to the roots and seeds, those daisies were going to grow right back up. And so when one's desire is at the same level as their intention, I called out to the universe to send me to my teacher. And for the next 20 years, I apprenticed with mapping the divine design of the emotional, spiritual blueprint template of the human body. So we have 365 approximate acupuncture points on the physical body. And in our conscious body, in our energy body, there are about 100,000 points of light called the nadis, which are the access points for the emotional, spiritual abilities, functions, awarenesses that are our divine inheritance. And by activating those circuits of consciousness, we're able to transcend the ordinary limitations of human expression, experience, and radiance, and be able to do things that were previously out of our awareness. You know, when we look at great avatars, kahunas, lamas, gurus, they're able to do things far above sort of the ordinary human consciousness. Consciousness, you know, again, there's a fun little story. Think of it this way. When a student fish swims up to this teacher fish and says, "So what's this water everyone's talking about?" That's our dilemma as well. We're living and swimming and breathing and being nourished by an unlimited consciousness, an ocean of consciousness. And to the degree that we can access it, harness it, intersect with it, and become interrelated with it, is to the degree that we experience the expression of our divine design and what is
I love
our
this,
spiritual
Cheryl.
inheritance.
I love it. I wanna bring it into my audience's view too, because there's a lot of people that will hear these words and they think, well, the gurus, the yogis, the saints, the sadhus, the shamans, they all have special abilities, right? They came here, maybe realized masters. They're way above me. I'll never get there. How about people go, well, how do they shift that place to, well, wait a second, this is possible for everybody?
Awareness, Ken, awareness. Awareness is 90% of the work. And when we become aware of the discrepancy between who we wish to be and what we're actually tending to do, what our habits and patterns run as opposed to our conscious choice and our conscious will, we begin that journey. And of course, all transformation starts where we are. On a very practical level, that we can see the body as the teacher and our symptoms as the lesson. We are always being receptive to messages, information, feedback, internally and externally. That's the study of epigenetics, where our external environment interfaces with who we are. It's said, Ken, that, we don't see the world as it is. We only see the world as we are. Things can be real without being true. I live in California, and I could stand at the edge of the beach and say, Ken, the Pacific Ocean isn't very, very large at all. Look, it ends where it meets the horizon of the sky. Now, that may be real to my perception, but it is not true. And so it is our perceptual interpretations, inferences, judgments that are the filter between what we see and what really is. And when we become sensitive,
what comes to mind immediately is the work around consciousness, where they've never seen a thought in the brain. Okay, yet they're the quantum scientists now and neurosciences, they're believing that consciousness lies outside of us. So how far does it lie outside of us, or are we part of the field? What say you on that?
we are the field. The field is all there is. It is only the field itself that embodies all the information, knowledge, and wisdom. It is our accessibility, sort of the aperture of our heart, which is where our soul abides, that we're able to interface with this information. And so our ability to perceive the choices that we're making. Now, it's really interesting, Ken. We would say, all right, we have all the consciousness, all the energy, and we all experience the idea of when I have a full tank of energy, I can do 3 days worth of work in a half a day. And when I've got only a half a tank of energy, that it takes 3 days to do a half a day's worth of work. The name of the game is energy, how we circulate, contain, and radiate that energy is the barometer of how plugged into flow we are, or how plugged into this consciousness we are. And you would ask me, well, if it's this straightforward, why don't we just, like a baleen whale, ingest all this consciousness, all this energy, all this wisdom, all this manifestation ability? Well, I can give you the research that I have certainly been looking at over the last couple decades. If we look back at our genealogy, at the history of humanity, it is the history of trauma of natural disasters, diseases, wars, accidents, conditions outside of our awareness. This information outside of us imprints within our psychogenetic biology molecules of memory that act as impedances, that act as filters to our ability to take in more and more of drinking more deeply of this field of consciousness. And so it is this unwinding and the transduction of taking these molecules of trauma and transducing them into molecules of regenerative, rejuvenating, healing forces. It's fascinating.
I'm going to pause you there, and I'm going to say that we're going to get some practical ways to do this, and to my audience, because I got to take a break. And it's this is a fascinating conversation. It's interesting because when one learns to plug into the unlimited energy that is here, it's amazing. We almost have unlimited energy if we know how to tune into that. And I'd say almost, only because maybe I haven't perfected that yet, but I believe others have perfected that. And I know there are people on the planet right now that will quiet, go into isolation, go into stillness, meditate, go out and work. They eat very seldom, then go back to meditation. They don't sleep. They just go meditate, work, back to work. It's very interesting what's possible when we can shift that. And if this is new to you, if you're listening to this for the first time, you might want to listen to this program over a few times, because Cheryl's giving us such a deep dive into this. Anyway, we'll come back. We'll talk about practically how we can tap into this field in just a minute, as soon as we get back from break.
Imagine this is your money and someone wants to take it from you. Who is it? The IRS. Guess what? They want your money and they can take it, all of it if they want. Remember, they sent you that letter right over here that said, hey, you owe us a bunch of cash and we're going to take it from you right now. So what do? You fight back by letting our team of experts work it out with the IRS so you can keep your money. And hey, we're good at what we do. When you hire us, you get a team of guys on your side that know the IRS laws, and we'll fight really hard to save your money. So, if you owe the IRS a ton of cash and you want to keep it, call right now and learn for free how we can help you put it back in your pocket. 5 minutes of your time right now can save you thousands of dollars. And the best part, it's a free call, so please call right now.
Well, welcome back, everybody. This is your host, Ken D. Foster. I'll be right back with my guest, Dr. Cheryl Malakoff, in just 1 minute. I want to appeal to you to reach out to those people that you care about and love, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then you can share this message of truth, hope, courage, and healing with those that you really care about. But you can't do that unless you're subscribed. So go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com at The Courage Network, youtube.com at The Courage Network. If you do that, you'll be a service to those that you really care for, and you'll help us grow this show and maybe even awaken the planet somehow. Interesting thought. We're back, Cheryl. Okay, I didn't want to interrupt you because you're following the stream of consciousness thought that we have here. And yet, I know some of people are going, well, okay, how do I do it? How do I connect to this field? How do I increase my potential? How do I set my intention and instead of stop start patterns, I start to manifest success continually?
That's an excellent question. And thank you, Ken. There is only one diagnosis, and that is our oneness. To the degree that we have fractioned or fractionalized our continuity, our alignment, our congruency, is to the degree that we experience suffering, or to the degree that we experience energy leakage, or to the degree that we are incongruent relative to what we want to do, relative to what we tend to do. And so there's two very practical applications. The first is to have the clarity. It takes an enormous amount of courage to tell one's truth. And what catalyzes all change has to do with desire, and desire abides in our heart. Without desire, we don't get off the couch to cook dinner. Without desire, we don't get out of bed in the morning. It's the right use of willpower, or to harness source willpower, divine willpower, which is the engine that drives everything. So when our desire is at the same level as our intention, all the forces align and we are able to create what you have described earlier in the show as miraculous results. When our desire is not at the same level as our intention, there is a gap, an energy leak. And basically it just flitters away back into recycling itself as an idea, a wish or dream, as opposed to manifesting and harnessing that power. The second things I'd like to discuss in terms of practicality is the willingness, again, that desire, to examine one's ego. And I have a little acronym for that, EGO, energizing great obstacles. And egos are wonderful servants, but they are not very good masters. They like to drive the bus. They like full-time employment. And their two most salient features is that they like to abide in memories, and usually memories that are unpleasant with guilt, shame, remorse, regret, coulda, woulda, shouldas. Or their second methodology of holding us hostage to the tyranny of seeing ourselves as little, disempowered, disconnected, is that they will project into the future, if then, what if, fear, worry, and doubt. Think of it as if you've got your foot on the gas, your foot on the brake, you're using a lot of fuel, your engine's being worn out, but you're not going anyplace. And so it is transcending one's ego, and that has driven these unconscious patterns of traumatic memories, of these ancestral imprints that are the limitations of how we design our life, and go to this idea of, I am unlimited. I am as the Creator has created me. Everything the Creator is, I am unlimited, empowered, eternal, immortal. And when we feel the suffering, it is an alarm that's saying we've drifted back into the ego-dominated restrictions. And it is an awakening to align ourselves to the oneness.
You know, I had a fellow on my show recently, and he was saying that, we've heard that people have 60, 80,000 thoughts a day, but the stat that I hadn't heard before is that about 80% of those are disempowering thoughts, negative thoughts. Right. And so what we're talking about here is switching that up and starting to affirm truth, courage, compassion, love within oneself, and starting to outpicture that in the world. What comes to my mind is you got to do the work. It's great to listen to what we're talking about, but Cheryl has a book out there that I do want to put on the screen. It's called Prelude, and Cheryl A. Malakoff. You can get it on Amazon and wherever. And Robert Clampett. Oh, Robert Clampett is her co-author on that. But this book is all about what we're talking about here. And, if it's not about more information, It's about realization. And that's really what we're talking about here. How do you realize these principles in your own life? And, I know when I first started this, listening to people like you and me, 30 years ago, I was a skeptic, and I would, I got a lot of stop-start patterns. I would think, wow, this is right. I'm going to go do this. And then that monkey mind, the ego, I love what you said, the energizing great obstacles would kick in and energize obstacles, and I would stop. And, it was a process of time. And so I went, wait, I think the biggest uncertainty in my life, the biggest stopper of success seems to be my own doubt and my own uncertainty. And as soon as I thought, I'm not going to let that come back in, I'm just moving forward every day with actions, things shifted, right? What do you say to that?
I absolutely agree with you, Ken, that doubt is the most pervasive disease on the planet. Doubt of who we are, doubt of our resources, doubt of our connectedness. We are the creation's creator, and as such, we have been imprinted with everything the creator is. We simply have to increase our awareness. It is today, it always has been, and will always be. And so Prelude was written because, I don't know, you've opened the flap of it yet, but it was, the preemption of it was from a poem from Rumi. And Rumi said, how interesting the idea of death. Too bad it just isn't true. And it's a referendum of our immortality. And it proves our reincarnation actually in a lovely, compelling mystery that's well researched in terms of the science and the metaphysics and the principles of how to live a full and complete and aware life, of proving reincarnation in a court of law. So it gives both the skeptics and the believers the foundation to have the information on a very practical level. And so when we realize our true divine inheritance, we can begin to access the divine design of such things. I work with a technology, Ken, really, that's the centerpiece of all my work. And it's called the ability to dissolve these imprinted, traumatic, inherited memories that are transgenerational. Just to give you an example of how these programs run, we have studies that have tracked descendants of the potato famine in Ireland. And they have approximately a 300 times greater chance of being obese because the imprint of impoverishment, deprivation, inability to have nourishment is a program of molecules of traumatic memory. When we begin to replace those molecules with molecules of regeneration, rejuvenation, they are reprogrammed and spontaneously without the arduous experience of traditional therapy, which I was very disillusioned with. So to enliven these circuits of consciousness, such as the ability to trust one's intuition, the ability to give and receive love unlimitedly, the ability to come from one's open mind without all the preconceived inferences and perceptions and evaluations and judgments, but simply having a direct experiencing, balancing male and female karmas, the ability, there are countless abilities that are inherent. It's our divine inheritance of the blueprint template. And when we can access those, like when we use physical acupuncture of opening up energy channels, these open up emotional, spiritual channels, which you referenced before with these exalted beings. And that is part of each and every one of us as our physical being. It comes hardwired for each of us, but remains dormant. And what we admire most in people who are successful in business, who have incredibly intimate relationships, who have the discipline to follow a spiritual journey, who have those qualities, they have enlivened through turning these circuits of consciousness on to do things that were previously out of awareness or mitigated by inherited transgenerational traumas.
Yeah. Well, it's there's so much here in what you're saying, and this. You talked earlier about the nadis, I believe it was 108. How many do we have?
About 100,000.
Oh, 100,000. Oh, well, I missed that by just a few decibels. And when we turn those on, well, there's a lot. There's science now. Science is following the Vedas, the old spiritual scriptures that have been here for eons. And science now is understanding that we can actually turn off and on genes, right, through intention and through some of the practices. Is that the same thing with nadis? I mean, 100,000 nadis, are we turning them on and off through our intention, through our observation, or how is that? How is that all fit together?
Great question, Ken. Every one of those 60 to 80,000 thoughts we have a day are transduced. Just as Einstein said, energy can neither be created nor destroyed, only transformed. So every one of those thoughts are transduced into neurochemistry, which becomes your psychobiology, that our body is the reflection of our thoughts and intentions. And so when we are able to master our thoughts or master our mind by being consciously aware of the programming that we are imprinting on every cell unit, RNA, DNA, space between the cells, that the body is always giving us messages. It's giving us information, feedback, life enhancing or life depleting. And the essence of all this, why do we do this? What is the value? What is the contribution? That we can only convey what we embody. So we become a healing force, a healing field for contribution and service to the degree that we have accessed these divine design potentials, abilities, functions within ourselves. So whether we're on the freeway or I'll tell you one of my fun stories. I'm going to
pause on story because I got to take a break, but we'll be right back and you can share that with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, everyone watching at home. We're here to remind you that if you or someone you know were injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have live agents available right now to answer your questions and tell you how much your case is potentially worth. Hi, I'm Gina Bellich, here with spokesman and TV personality Tom Mustin with us in the Help Center. So Tom, phones are really busy over there. Tell us what kind of calls you're seeing.
Well, Gina, first off, thank you for having me here in the call center with you. We always enjoy talking to the viewers and getting folks the compensation that they deserve. We're seeing calls about all kinds of accidents, but the most common by far has been car accidents. So if you or someone you know were injured in an accident that was not your fault, give us a call right now. You'll speak with a live person. They'll answer any questions you have and tell you if you have a case and how much your case is potentially worth.
Thanks, Tom. All right, folks at home, you heard it. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now.
Hi, folks. Joe Namath here. Did you know that I wear hearing aids? I love my hearing aids, and I am here to help you get a deal on the same brand I wear.
Don't waste thousands on expensive hearing aids when you can get MD Hearing's revolutionary Neo hearing aids for just $297 a pair. The Neo is a true hearing aid, not an amplifier. With rechargeable technology many customers say is superior to more expensive models. And you can get 2 Neo hearing aids with a 45-day risk-free trial, free shipping, and free lifetime US-based support for only $297. The Neo is nearly invisible with its tiny in-the-ear canal design.
Call my friends at MD Hearing and get the over-the-counter hearing aids that I use for you.
Call now and get not 1 but 2 Neo hearing aids for just $297.
800-789-7885. Again, that's 800-789-7885.
Well, welcome back, everybody. This is your host, Ken D. Foster. I'm talking with Dr. Cheryl Malakoff, and we're discussing, she's got to tell us a story right now, but we're discussing her groundbreaking healing modalities that can really help you to shift, heal, grow, expand your consciousness, and change your life in such wonderful ways. Go ahead, Cheryl.
Well, the essence basically, Ken, is that we attract people at our same level. So if we have a very low will to be well, we're going to coalesce and attract relationships who also sabotage our will to be well. And this is exemplified by Dr. David Hawkins in his book, Transcending Levels of Consciousness. He tells a story that he presented at the medical center in San Francisco. And he was saying that he gave 25,000 prescriptions in his lifetime, and he never had one side effect. And he was sharing that he had colleagues that couldn't give a baby aspirin without their patients having a gastric hemorrhage. And the point is that we convey what we embody. We attract partners, we attract healers, helpers, teachers, partners in business that have the same will to be well, will to evolve, will to heal as we do. And Dr. John Diamond, the psychiatrist, also tells a story of testing two orchestra conductors. One's will to be well was very strong, one was very compromised, and they played the same orchestra with the same music and tested the audience. And as you would imagine, the conductor whose will to be well of vibration and energy strengthened the audience. And the conductor, same music, same audience, depleted and de-energized the audience because he was conveying what he embodied. And you've had those experiences intuitively. You go into a room with a group of people and you just read the room, you read the vibes.
Well, I've realized that and experienced it in my own life. I at one point taught a class called Speaking Presence. The last day of the class that I was teaching, I was closing the school. I'd taken 2,500 students through that program. And a psychologist came up to me and she said, "Do you know why everybody heals and changes and they become powerful speakers as a result of being in this class?" And I said, "Not really." Didn't know. She said, "It's you. It's your intention. It's who you be. That's what's going on here." That's exactly what Cheryl is talking about. It's who we be in the moment that we picture that in our life. Well, we send, it's not even a picture. It's an energy field that is an attractive force that brings the people, places, and things into our lives that affirm what it is we're being. That's how I experience it. You have some groundbreaking healing models, but you also have these circuits of consciousness abilities. I'd like to. What are the 3 circuits of conscious abilities? Can you give me a few examples of that?
Absolutely. We alluded to them earlier. The core organizing circuit of consciousness for each of us, Ken, is our will to be well. When we have a very compromised will to be well, there are natural sabotaging patterns. When an opportunity arises, we act inappropriately. We don't invest in it adequately. We just don't see the golden mountain. We only see the grass around it. And so when we have a strong will to be well, truly we can move mountains and create those miraculous results. Some of those other circuits are like the ability to give and receive love, the ability to trust one's intuition, the ability to perceive others' points of view less judgmentally, the ability to be present for a spiritual master, the ability to give others what we are most needing ourselves, which is truly key because the only things we get to keep in this life are those things we give away. To give is to receive. And those things that we withhold from others, we are depriving ourselves of. And so it's this reciprocity of how plugged into flow we are. And I'd really like to underscore what you just illuminated, Ken, because it's so core. It's really the centerpiece of all of our lives. That our future does not abide someplace outside of us on a calendar in the future on the horizon, but rather our future abides within ourselves. Because the outer waking life that we experience is real and tangible, that our senses interface with, that we have all our experiences within, are actually only a reflection of our inner consciousness, our inner organization, and our inner clarification, awareness, and accessibility of this continuous field of consciousness that we live within and that lives within us. It's all one. And going back to
I wanted to say this. So I just want to reiterate in my words that you just said. Listen, your future does not equal your past. Okay, your future is bright and brilliant, and can be filled with golden dreams and manifesting the joy that you are so choosing in your life. And it's about increasing awareness. One of the ways that you can increase awareness here is by getting Cheryl's book. And I know Cheryl doesn't want me to promote her book or what have you. She's not that kind of person, but I want to promote it because Prelude will help you to understand the science behind reincarnation. There are a lot of studies. There are, I can't believe how many studies there are on reincarnation out there right now. And, this book will help you understand some of the principles about that, because why do we even need that? I know that it's a foundation to be able to expand your life and really gain wisdom in ways that will probably take you on a journey to undo what you've learned so that you can relearn the truth. Like Cheryl said, if you're standing on the ocean, you only see the horizon and that's the end of the ocean. Well, a lot of people are doing that. There's no reason to do that anymore. What I want you to do is get your little drone and get up above so you can see the whole picture. That's what we're talking about. Raising consciousness. Cheryl, I've got about 5 more minutes in the show. So I want to know if somebody's listening to this, they're going, oh God, Cheryl, okay, I'm going to get your book, Cheryl, but my next step, I'm not sure what my next step is to heal my chronic illness. What do you tell them?
That's a very beautiful question, Ken. Again, our body is the teacher. The symptoms are the lessons. And when we get quiet enough to realign in our heart beyond all the fear, worry, doubt, other people's opinion, we unequivocally have the power to heal ourselves by coming into unity and oneness. When we are fractured, when we are split from our true essential nature, we leak energy, we are confused and conflicted, and we cannot reharness that incredible divine ability to heal ourselves. And in truth, we are an exquisite masterpiece. We have many divergent parts and pieces. And when we put all of those together in the recognition, acceptance, celebration, and awareness of our own true masterpiece, we become a healing force for ourselves, and most of all, that this is a gift that we give the world, because ultimately our report card at the end is not how much we've achieved or accomplished or accumulated, but rather how many people have benefited from ourselves, our true nature, who we have become, that we radiate out that higher resonance. And that's our gift to the planet. It is beyond measure and beyond comprehension. So to heal oneself is to come back to our true nature.
I love that. By the way, some of you out there want to change the world. What Cheryl is saying, change yourself. Then you get to change the world. and everybody around you. Cheryl, thank you so much. I love this conversation. This is one of my favorite conversations I've had this year. So I applaud your courage to explore the depths of the unknown and be able to articulate it so well to members of our show. On the screen right now, we're putting up for my listening audience, we're going to reach Dr. Cheryl Malakoff, and it's DrCheryl Malakoff.com. Dr. Cheryl Malakoff. You can look her up in AI, look her up on Google, or just go to her website and you can find out what she's up to and how you can truly take this path of multi-generational healing, which starts with you today. So, Cheryl, any final thoughts?
I just want to leave everyone with the idea of their beautiful divine blueprint is whole, healed, happy, healthy, complete. And it is our ability to live in peace and happiness. This is our inheritance. Enjoy the journey. It's here for our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. And thank all of you for joining us today on the Heal It Show. Again, we hope you'll pass the show on to people that you care about. That's how we help each other. And also, of course, that's how we grow the show so that we can continue to deliver amazing guests like Dr. Cheryl Malakoff. Till next time, have a blessed week. Take care.